Hello, hello, hello. Back with another Path of Exile 2 video. Today we're answering the only monk question that matters. Hollow Palm or Quarterstaff? What actually hits the hardest? How do you scale it without wasting points? As we're all aware, patch 0.3 moved Hollow Palm just to there, okay? With the new update to the skill points and the passive tree, we've added a lot of nodes around this side, around here, around here. We currently don't know what these nodes are. We currently don't know if they're going to work in our favour, if they're not going to be as good as we think. But we'll find out that obviously in a couple of days' time. So, as I said, Hollow Palm sits just there. With it allocated, your unarmed attacks count as if you're using a quarterstaff, as it says down here on the Hollow Palm technique. You get 1% more attack speed per 25 evasion, and you get 0.1% critical hit chance per 10 energy shield on your armor. The difficult thing is whether it's worth investing in Hollow Palm early game or investing in a good quarterstaff early game and then investing in Hollow Palm later. Okay, a good quarterstaff, you can get stupidly quarterstaffs. If you look at this one that I've got here, this is my quarterstaff. I think I paid like 250 divine for it, but it's got elemental attacks, critical hit chance, critical damage bonus, fire damage, lightning damage, increased elemental attacks, and 7-12 melee skills. And it cost me an absolute fortune. It also gives me 27 million DPS. It gives me 11 million on Flicker Strike. No, 20 million on Flicker Strike. So it works very, very well. How Hollow Palm scales is very, very dependent on where it says the used attacks count as if you're using a quarterstaff. And that's something we'll have to find out, obviously, on the 29th. So if we do a little bit of a quick check, 1,250 item evasion would realistically give you around about 50% more attack speed, and then 600 item energy shield will probably give you around about 6 base crit chance. These are multiplicative, and crit is added to base, okay? So they are huge for DPS. All right, Farham, in all the wisdom that he has, made this spreadsheet. I will leave a link to the spreadsheet and a link to Farham's YouTube channel. Go subscribe to him, top guy. So he made this here, which is basically you put your gear in and it tells you how much crit chance you get and how much attack speed you get. So I've put my gear in, which is the sleek jacket, the cavalry boots, the Kamazan, and the elegant. And it's saying here that I'd roughly get min at 77.2, max, average, and then min and crit. Then you go to your final stats input. So we're going to go base it off Tempest Flurry. This is the one that Farham recommended we base it off. But for instance, if you were going to base it 5 strike, it would be different to Tempest Flurry. So Tempest Flurry gives you around about 1.96 attacks per second. Increased other. So this increased over here is basically increasing off the passives and the skill tree. And if you look at the skill tree here, you can get there's 3% attack speed there. If you've been hit recently, there's 10% attack speed there. 3, 6, 9% attack speed there. So you've got 21% attack speed already on top of it, plus martial tempo, which I know, as currently recording this video, has now been changed to a different name, but that gives you around about 20% attack speed. So that's 41% attack speed on top of it. So there's like your increase on there. And then you can easily get more attack speed, for instance, on gloves. If you get like an extra 20% on gloves and everything, you could probably sit on around about 100, maybe between 80 to 110% increase attack speed. Then this is your hit points. So mine roughly sits around about 81. So I would do 7.48 attacks per second with this gear here. And this was quite good gear for 0.2. In Farham's video, he basically maxed it out as top as you could go, put everything as high as you go, like there, and then put it to there. And he was getting like 11 attacks per second, which sounds great, especially like with scaling and fifth scaling and stuff like that. But the mana cost, if you're doing 11 attacks per second, how do you sustain that mana? I don't know if it's 11 punches per second or if it's 11 rotations, if that makes sense. But yeah, it's very, very difficult to work out which one means what. Your crit chance, so this here could basically put it to 285 because this put me to close to 100% crit chance. So then you'd add this onto it, which would give me the hit points, which probably gives you an actual crit chance of 104.64%. So it's pretty decent, but how it works, again, like I say, we'll find out more about that. GGG seems to be dropping like little snippets here, there, and everywhere, but it all depends on how it works, okay? Then we'll ask the other question that everyone's been asking. Invoker or Acolyte of Chaula, okay? So, Invoker, we know it leads to cold, lightning, wind, fire, status stacking, ailment uptime, shattering palm, stuff like that. Okay, an Acolyte Chiaula is chaos, darkness, leech. They're two totally different classes, but obviously they share the same skill tree. I'm going to be starting Invoker. I did a little bit about this in the original video. I'll leave a link to that in the description, or put it on the screen now. But basically what I would do starting is invest in a lot of skills early doors. So anyone that's been following my channel will know that I have used multiple different skills. I started off with Ice Strike, had a bit of Flicker Strike, went into Tempest Flurry, went into Storm Wave, then finished on like Storm Wave / Flicker, and yeah, moving it around. I had Handed Chiaula at one point and loads of bits. I was running around with a spear as well. So I like to change it up, but I always go to the Quarterstaff, and I do like ice. I feel like ice just looks cool. So starting off, obviously you spawn right at the beginning, kill the skeleton, and then get your staff, and then get your skill gem and stuff, and you can pick your first skill move. So with your skills here, I feel like Frozen Locust is going to be the one that go to. This creates an ice crystal. This ice crystal shatters. You basically jump backwards, and it's very good early on. As you can see now, Killing Palm, Staggering Palm, Shattering Palm, Hand of Chiaula, and Frozen Locust now deal damage based off their quick staff. They no longer have a flat damage or additional critical strike chance palm skills, and can no longer be used with a Quarterstaff equipped by default. Okay, so the downside with that is Frozen Locust will give you a base damage of a certain amount, 6 to 9 base cold damage, and then 13% critical damage chance. Now Frozen Locust is based on your Quarterstaff, so if you've got a decent Quarterstaff, it's going to be very powerful, but if you haven't got a decent Quarterstaff, it's probably going to be weaker than it was early on. Then we go to Glacial Cascade. It no longer consumes freezes on enemies to deal 350% more damage. It now consumes freeze on non-unique enemies to deal 150, and then consumes freeze on unique to deal 500% more damage. Burst radius is now 0.6 meters instead of previously 0.5. The final burst radius is 0.9 to 1.2 meters, and quality now gives it 0 to 15% physical damage as cold damage, previously 0 to 10%. So Glacial Cascades have a huge buff. So for this, I would probably start with new skill, and we'll go for Cascade. You probably go for the Cold Infusion or Martial Tempo, whichever one it would be at the earliest. Okay, so you're gonna have Glacial Cascade at the beginning and Cold Infusion. The tree. If you plan to go Hollow Palm straight away, then I will probably start down this side, get your evasion, energy shield, and then move your way around. Okay? If you don't plan to go Hollow Palm straight away, I'd start here, get your skill speed. Then you could either go for attack damage, base attack damage, or damage bonus. Crit damage bonus is going to get you the most damage, so you're going to go around that way. Fall like water, and then you're going to definitely get these nodes here. Okay? If you don't want to get that, that's perfectly fine. But again, I would get all of these early on. Movement speed, mana regen, dexterity, intelligence, attack speed, cast speed, evasion, energy shield, and crit chance. They're all very good. Crashing wave into here, and then again we'll just go for dexterity. Okay, then as I said in my other video, you can either make your way up here and get Moment of Truth, or you can make your way around towards Hollow Palm. So Hollow Palm will then come down to here, which gives you a jewel socket. Do not sleep on jewels. Okay, they give you insane amounts of damage if you get the right one early on. Down here, and then you'd allocate Hollow Palm. So you've got what, 19 skills. Okay, so it's roughly saying you'll be level 16 with a monk. Well, it'll be 17 because you'd have to put that skill onto it. Yeah, so you'll be level 17. If you don't want to take Hollow Palm, what I would do is I would remove them, and I'll take attack damage, and Killer Instinct, because that gives you a huge increase in attack damage. And then either make your way up here to get the critical strike chance and intelligence, down here to give yourself attack damage and attack damage. I personally would go up here and get these nodes here. So by level 26, roughly, you're going to have quite a decent amount of crit chance, some decent attack damage, and some decent energy shield. Then, as acts start to get harder, I would then start to focus on getting yourself some energy shield. So I would probably branch off these two here, go up to the top, and then take yourself them there. Okay, or you could go up and get Spectral Ward if you get yourself a decent bit of body armor. So what's that by? That's by level 28. You can get Spectral Ward, and then you've got a decent amount of health, a decent amount of energy shield, and a decent amount of evasion. So let's move back onto the skills. So you've got Glacial Cascade. As soon as you get higher up, Okay, you're gonna get like Vaulting Impact, Temper Spell, Staggering Palm. I would take Temper Spell. Temper Spell is gonna be your go-to for boss damage. It has had a little buff, so it is gonna be the go-to for boss damage. Okay, so if we add a new one, we'll go for Temper Spell. If you have more skill gems, I would still take Frozen Locust, because you can put it next to the bell, and the bell can inflict its ailments. Then when you come down to here, it's entirely up to you. I personally prefer Ice Strike, but Tempest Flurry is very, very good. I think, has Flurry got a buff? Nope. Nope. And Ice Strike's been fine. Yeah, so it's both of them are the same. I've been using Ice Strike in update 2, so the most recent league, and I'm sat around about 197,000 plus DPS without stacks and buffs and everything, so that's just raw DPS. So it is very, very decent. Okay, so I would probably get to there and I would take Ice Strike. And then what I would do is I would then remove the Cold Infusion into Ice Strike, Cold Infusion, and then I'll probably get Martial Tempo, and then I'll go for Primal Animal, Ice Bite. Ice Bite's very, very good. As we move forward, again, you can take some of these skills. Freezing Mark's good, which it no longer applies in cast on crit or anything. By that point, you should probably have got a Herald or Skill Gem, Spirit Gem. So I would probably take maybe Herald of Thunder or Herald of Ice and move forward from there. Freezing Mark, like I say, is very, very good. Hand of Chayula is very, very good as well. But I think Hand of Chayula has got a nerf. And Hand of Chayula. Increased duration instead of Supporter's Curse of Magnitude. Yeah, thoughts. And then as Freezing, Freezing Marks are still the same. Okay? So Freezing Mark is still limited to one target. So this is going to give you decent boss damage. So at this point, you've got Ice Strike, Temper Spell, Frozen Locust. You've got Herald of Thunder, Freezing Mark. You can go around the map. Ice Strike and Herald of Thunder or Herald of Ice is going to create some shatters. Temper Spell, drop the bell, hit it with Ice Strike. You could probably apply Freezing Mark to the boss first and then hit the boss with Ice Strike. Then you move into here, Charge Staff. Charge Staff's a go-to with Monk, especially if you are running a Quarterstaff. I don't know how it works with Hollow Palm, but Charge Staff is definitely a go-to, especially for new players, and new players like sleep on Charge Staff. And then if you get Charge Staff, I would take Resonance, because you're getting power charges instead of frenzy charges. So whenever you freeze someone with Ice Strike, you'll gain a power charge, then you use your power charge to activate a staff, and then Charge Staff will then give you an increase in damage. As you get further up, Shattering Palm has been changed as well. That's like I said, it's now a different skill, but it scales with your Quarterstaff, so it might be good. You probably have to have a try with that one. But if you want to clear areas fast, Flicker Strike is going to be your go-to. Flicker Strike has been changed. It now has 0 to 20% more damage per charge consumed. So if you wanted to do a Flicker Strike build, okay, around here, you got charge duration and the 1 to maximum power charges. Down here, you've got Energy Shield, Energy Shield, Energy Shield, and power charges. So that's 2 to maximum power charges. Then around here, you've got critical damage bonus per power charges and +2. Okay, so there's an extra 4 power charges there. So if you look at Flicker Strike, you don't get Flicker Strike until level 52, and it requires at least a level 13 gem, 0 to 20% more damage per power charge consumed. So you put it in max quality if you can, so that's 20% per power charge consumed. There's 4 charges there, so 20 times 4 is 80%. This means that Flicker Strike is getting 80% more damage. At this point here, when you're getting Flicker Strike around about level 50 plus, you should then be looking at whether you want to remain at Hollow Palm or whether you want to take Hollow Palm. As we said in here, Hollow Palm will scale better the better gear you get. Okay, so it's going to go where the higher gear you get, the higher level you get, the more damage Hollow Palm will do. Obviously, with Chayula, it's totally different. Chayula, you probably maybe look at getting Spaghettification. You probably won't go so much for chaos damage early on. You probably come around, maybe look at getting your volatility so you don't explode more. Maybe some chaos damage should be, or withered to apply ailments. Volatility as well, but again, there's new nodes here. There's a few new nodes around here. Like, we don't know what they are. So it could be something that could synergize with Chayula. It could be something that just doesn't work at all. It could be something that synergizes with Invoker. Okay, so that is like the problem that we're looking at the moment, because we don't know what these skills are. We can't really plan correctly. Again, it's all theory. The only thing I can say is start off with these skills. I'd probably start off with like Normal Strike, Glacial Cascade for some area clears, Temper Spell for boss damage, and then start to move on to Ice Strike and stuff like that. So, just to summarize, Hollow Palm will probably feel best early on with the Invoker. Okay, the Invoker is going to probably scale so high with that Hollow Palm, especially when you look at the skill trees and you can come around here and get Lead Me Through Grace, where you get 1 spirit for every 8 evasion, 8 energy shield and evasion. So that means that you can scale and give yourself more spirit. So if we look at Wind Dancer, Wind Dancer's got 3 maximum stages, and that you get every 1.5 seconds, and you get 15% more evasion rating per stage, okay? So you're going to get 15, 30, 45% more evasion rating. With Wind Dancer, Hollow Palm scales off your evasion on your equipped body armor, so I don't think you're going to get the evasion there, to boost your attack for Hollow Palm. But Wind Dancer is very, very good for survivability, especially if anyone comes near you. Once you get them hit, you trigger a Gale Force, which pushes them away. You have Wind Wave, and if you put Culling Strike on it, you'll find that quite a lot of lower level enemies will die just from Wind Dancer alone. So again, the Invoker, like I say, is different. We probably might not need to go up to Sunder My Enemies here with the critical hits, ignore non-negative enemy elemental resistances, because there is a gem for that. But if you can get that, you could probably look at maybe going meta skills or meditate. So you can meditate to get your energy shield, or possibly take Unbound Avatar. Unbound Avatar is very, very good, but you have to see how it scales. Don't take that physical damage reduction from is based on your combined evasion rating, because armor is currently rubbish, so there's no point. All right, so as I said, Hollow Palm's going to feel amazing for an Invoker straight away. Yeah, if you can get yourself a good Quarterstaff early on, I'd probably recommend going for that. But if you haven't got yourself a good Quarterstaff, Hollow Palm is going to be very, very good. The Acolyte Chowler, as I said before in the previous video, the Acolyte Chowler is going to be, towards the end game, I think it's going to be insane, especially if you can get it working. Easiest thing to do is, if you are really, really worried about Acolyte of Chowler, go Invoker. You can change it towards the end of it. You just have to do the trials again. But if you want immediate power, okay, I'd probably go Invoker on Hollow Palm. It's gonna look cool. It's gonna synergize well. It's gonna work well, and then you can invest into a Quarterstaff towards the end. You can save your currency, go all the way through, just run Hollow Palm until you need to get yourself a good Quarterstaff. If you love curse base and stuff like that, yeah, go Acolyte. If you love Acolyte, again, the Acolyte and Hollow Palm and Hand of Chowler is probably going to be a bully build. You're probably going to find that using Hand of Chowler, Hollow Palm, and the Acolyte of Chowler is going to be very, very good. I did kind of work it out on stream, and we did say it scales very, very high. So that's probably going to be one of your One Punch Man builds, let's say. But I feel like I've blabbed on a lot. I will have builds out as soon as possible. Again, shout out to Farham for this Hollow Palm spreadsheet. It is very, very good. Like I say, if you want to test it out for yourself, look at what your gear was like on the previous league and see how you can compare it and everything like that. Have a go. Live on Friday. Stay safe. Enjoy your week. Peace.